Hello, what is going on? Happy November. It is officially November, which means sadly October is over. October is my favorite month of the year. But I will say this year I definitely got the most out of my October. I went to pumpkin patches, haunted houses, scary movies, pumpkin flavored coffee. I definitely felt like it was a very long October, very rich October. So I even have my pumpkin right here. This is the pumpkin I bought from the pumpkin patch. Anyway, it is November. Happy November. Today, I wanted to talk about something that I'm very, very passionate about, which is the topic of movies. I love movies. I love going to the movies. I've been fascinated by movies ever since I saw my first Alfred Hitchcock movie in the 6th grade. It was actually 3. It was The Birds, then it was North by Northwest, and then it was Psycho. Ever since, I've had a dream of directing a movie, and that dream still lives on today. I sincerely believe that I will direct a movie in this lifetime. And but yeah, I love movies, and I'm very excited to talk about my top 10 favorite movies. I do have to warn you that, I have kept a list of top 10 favorite movies in the past, ever since I was in high school. It was very definitive. I knew which movie was which number, boom, 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 boom. But looking at my list of favorite movies, that's why I keep glancing down. I have a list in front of me of my favorite movies because my memory is not as strong as I would like it to be, and I'm working on it, but I do have a little cheat sheet in front of me of my favorite movies. They are not in order, because I have my number 1 favorite movie and I have my number 2 favorite movie, but then the rest are just impossible to order. And I honestly don't even have the desire to order them. I just kind of think they can exist in a bubble where they all float around each other. They're the top 2 above all of them, but then the rest just kind of exist in this bubble of perfect movies. So, with that said, here are my top 10 favorite movies. And this list changes a lot, and it's actually going to change, I'm pretty sure, as I'm doing this video. Just looking at it, I see a movie that I think is gonna make its way off the list right now and be replaced by another one that I really loved. Movie that came out this year that I really loved. Anyway, here we go. So number 1 is La La Land. I think La La Land was made for me. I think La La Land is a perfect movie, and I'm not a musical girl, but if it's a musical where every song is good and the story isn't being interrupted every 5 minutes, which was my pet peeve with musicals. I'll be listening to the dialogue, really getting into it, and then I hear the musical. It's just annoying, but La La Land is not annoying. Truthfully, there really aren't even very many songs in La La Land, and the few songs are really good. They sound good, they're sweet, they're simple, but they really just, they have a reason. You just gotta watch La La Land to understand what I'm saying. I'm sure most people have seen it, hopefully. Oh my god, if you haven't seen La La Land, what are you doing? But yeah, obviously I'm somebody that loves movies and has always dreamed of being in the film industry, and like I said, that dream still lives on. So that movie is just very satisfying to watch, and it's romantic, and it's passionate, and it's sweet, and it's sad, and it's funny. The music's good. I love Ryan Gosling. Drive is such a good movie. But yes, La La Land is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful movie. Top tier, top shelf. I will never get tired of that movie. It means a lot to me personally, just being somebody who loves the film industry and the idea of being a part of it one day. It's just very appealing to me. And I love the songs, and I love how romantic it is, but also how sad it is at the same time. And I kind of just want to watch it right now. But yes, La La Land is number 1. My second favorite movie is Call Me by Your Name. That Luca Guadagnino. I've seen Suspiria. Oh, but I don't think I've seen Bones and All, which I think was the one after Call Me by Your Name. No. See, this is what I'm talking about, my memory not being as strong as I'd like it to be. I used to be on this stuff, on this information. I knew all this stuff. Truthfully, I don't think it's that my memory's, I mean, a little bit of my memory, but I also think that just life is very demanding of my attention, and so it's hard to have the same amount of space in my brain now than I did when I was in high school, which is when I could rattle off this information like that. Oh, you know what? It was Suspiria. No, it wasn't. It was Call Me by Your Name. Then it was Suspiria. Then Bones and All. And then Challengers is supposed to be coming out. I don't think I'm missing a movie, but I think Challengers is the one I was forgetting, which I'm very excited about. But Luca Guadagnino is an artiste. For me, I think that movies are my personal medium, and I feel like when it comes like to art, movies are what I understand. It's what I have a developed taste in. It's what I strive to express myself in. And I feel like when I think of movies as art, Call Me by Your Name is a standout. It is very thorough, very romantic, very heartbreaking, but also very, very sweet at the same time, but also very disturbing. It's disturbing. Like, I'm not gonna lie. And this is a fun video to make because now I just want to sit down and watch all these movies. That is a movie that I love to just like buy a bottle of wine for myself and, you know, put this movie on at 1 a.m. and just sip and watch and take it in, absorb it. Oh, I love it. I love that song. Love my way. It's a new road. I follow where my mind goes. The drums in that song, I love that scene. Oh my God, I love that movie. The conversation that Elio has with his dad at the end where they're kind of walking on eggshells, but then like you get to the depth of it. Oh, it just makes me cry. Like, I love a movie that makes me cry. Especially as an adult, it's hard. I used to cry all the time, but it's hard to make me cry. But Call Me by Your Name has that power over me. It is a lovely movie. It is a piece of art. Mwah, highly recommend. So, number 2, I really love that movie. So those are the 2 movies that have definitive places on this top 10 list. The rest, as I said, all exist in just a bubble where they float around each other, just existing as fantastic, perfect movies through my eyes. So the next movie on my list would be Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I would definitely say that is my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie. Everyone has a favorite Quentin Tarantino movie. Mine, for the longest time, was Jackie Brown. But then I saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I just thought it was perfect. Quentin Tarantino just has a way, as we all know, of rewriting history in a way that we just wish it actually played out. And this was my favorite one. I have such a heart for Sharon Tate. She's from Dallas, Texas. I'm from Texas. I lived in Dallas for a couple of years. And she seemed like such a sweet soul, such a good person. And I think the movie captured that wonderfully. And I loved the way life played out for her in that movie. It was an ode to cinema. And the ending was great. I remember when I first saw that movie, I left that theater in tears. I'm pretty sure I still have the footage of me just crying my eyes out because I was just so happy and so touched by the ending. So that might actually be number 3. The emotions that I'm feeling right now, that might actually definitively be number 3 on my top 10 favorite movies. Next up on my list is Avatar. I am an Avatar stan. I love anything Avatar. I'm talking about the first one personally. I love that movie, and I did not even see it until I think 12 years after the first one came out. I never saw it in theaters. Actually, I did go see it. The Bob Bullock Museum in Austin, Texas, which is where I'm from, was playing it, and I went to go see it. It was wonderful. My dream Halloween costume, if I can meet somebody who can do this makeup for me, or if I can learn it myself, or I don't know how to body paint myself or anything, but I want to be one of the blue Avatar people because I love them so much. I see the way that they live, and that's what I want my life to be. Besides the war and people trying to, chop down my home just for the sake of making money. I remember the first time I saw Avatar, I just saw the way that they lived, and I just knew, like, that is how I wish I could be. This is my home. These are my people. This is who I want to be. I love that movie. I think it is absolutely mind-blowing. I think it came out in 2009, and it does not look like it came out in 2009. The amount of work, the craft, the effort, the dedication, I can only imagine how tedious it must have been to make all of that come to life and look so realistic, especially given the technology at the time. It is fantastic. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited for more. I definitely saw the second one. I'm excited for 3. I'm ready for 4. I love Avatar. I love Avatar. I sincerely apologize for all the annoying sounds in the background. I am very close to a very industrial area. It's not going to be like that forever, but that's just my reality at the moment. And it's not ideal for filming, but I do want to just power through it. So I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry if there are annoying sounds in the background, but I just don't have the editing skills or the budget to do anything about it at the moment. So I'm sorry. So the next movie is actually going to be 2 movies because these 2 movies are by the same director who happens to be my favorite director. And I have such a heart for each one individually. I love them both for very different reasons. And it's just impossible to put one over the other. I just can't definitively say, oh, I like this one a little bit better. That's just not how it is. So that director is Ari Aster, and these movies are Hereditary and Midsommar. I think they are the best horror movies ever. Like, they're just so elevated, and horror movies are my favorite genre. I've seen a lot of them, but not only are Hereditary and Midsommar very recent movies, but they're just so good. They're so artistic, elevated, creepy, perfectly crafted, well told. I am obsessed with those. And it's funny because the first time I saw Hereditary, I did not like it because it was getting marketed as the scariest movie since The Exorcist. Now, if you've seen The Exorcist, you know The Exorcist is one of the best horror movies ever made. Ever made. So that's a big statement to make. So I went in this movie expecting something like The Exorcist. And that's not what it was. But I did not give up on it. I kept going back to see it. I kept talking to all my friends about it. I really wanted to understand it. And I just kept going to see it. And I don't know at what point it was where like something flipped. But I get it now. It's so good. I have a copy of the screenplay. I actually bought a copy of the screenplay. It's so weird. And it's so unique. And like, I just love an ending where it's not like a traditional happy ending. And this movie was a happy ending for a certain group of people, but those aren't the people that you want to, that you necessarily want to have a happy ending. And Hereditary is just one of those movies that the more you learn about it, the more dynamic it becomes, and the more fascinating it becomes, and the more it makes sense. And I truly would like to do an in-depth conversation about Hereditary, because I think it's so interesting, and I think about it and I'm still obsessed with it to this day. It came out years ago and I'm still fascinated, fixated on it, and I really would like to talk about it more. So expect that soon, an in-depth conversation on Hereditary, because it's just so good. It's so fun to talk about. And then there's Midsummer. And I remember Midsummer, I saw Midsummer at the exact time that I needed it, because I had just been hurt very deeply by a person I was romantically entwined with, and he hurt my feelings and broke up with me, and I was devastated. I wasn't ready for it to be over, but I was devastated by it. And I went to see Midsummer, and it just made me feel okay, made me feel understood. Midsummer, goodness, like everyone remembers seeing Midsummer in the theaters, and just how quiet and heavy the air felt when those elders jump off the cliff. Like, that is a tough scene to watch. But my goodness, that was one of the most satisfying endings of all time. Like, I just wanted to stand up in my seat and applaud. Honestly, I could do an in-depth conversation on that one too. But it won't be so much like an analysis, but more like just what it meant to me, because I think I like Hereditary more. I think Hereditary is a better movie, but Midsummer means more to me personally. It has a bigger place in my heart. I feel more connected to Midsummer. Ari Aster is the best. That's it. That's just a fact of life. Ari Aster is the best. Next movie is Black Swan. I was Black Swan for Halloween one year. The same year that I was Sharon Tate, the Quentin Tarantino interpretation of her life, I was her for Halloween. The same year, I did 3 costumes that year. And Black Swan was like my final Halloween look. I love a movie about an obsessed artist who just wants to be the best, who just wants to be better than everybody, who's just so hard on themselves, like they break themselves to become what they envision themselves to be. And Black Swan is that. It is so good. It is about the ultimate perfectionist who is willing to torture herself to become perfect. Like, that's all she's ever wanted, right? It's just a small thing for yourself to want to be perfect. And like that quote, like, I just want to be perfect. I get that. And I love that. Oh, I love Black Swan. Sincerely, I'm gonna just rewatch these movies and have an in-depth conversation about every single one of these movies, because I haven't rewatched any of these recently, and I'm kind of just going off, conversationally, just talking about what I love. But I would really like to actually maybe have a series where I just talk about these movies. It'd be fun, like one by one. So this is kind of like an overview. But Black Swan is wonderful. It's very sexy, very relatable, very tragic, very mesmerizing. It's phenomenal. Phenomenal. So after that, we're kind of starting to wind down. We don't have too many movies left. There's one movie on this list it's the only movie that's been on my list since high school, the only one that's still there. There's another movie that has been on my list since high school, but I'm about to kick it off and replace it with something else. But the one that's gonna stay is The Dark Knight. And I know I don't even have to talk about this movie for very long. Everybody's seen it. Everybody's aware. It is perfect. It is complicated. It is so intricately and well crafted. Heath Ledger is the Joker, will never be done again. I really don't even have to say much more. It's a phenomenal movie. It is one of the best movies ever made and will always be that way. That's all I have to say on that. So now we're down to 2, and one of those 2 is Moonlight. And I actually haven't watched Moonlight in a couple of years, and I really would like to rewatch it, but I just remember how passionate, how vulnerable that movie was, how interesting it was, how sweet it was, how heartbreaking it was. One of my favorite scenes is the scene in the diner, and you just see the two gentlemen go their separate directions as they grow older, and as you always want true love to do, they reconnect. And I just love that scene when they're in the diner and he puts on that song. Woo! I love Moonlight. I just love a movie where someone just opens their heart up, just throws it into a script, is so vulnerable enough to share such, tough moments of their lives. And ooh, Moonlight's solid. Moonlight's so good. Perfect ending. I love a movie with a perfect ending, with a satisfying, perfect ending, and that is one of those movies. And then that leaves... So, this is one of those... I had a movie in this place, and on my list, I even have the movie written down, and I have a question mark next to it, just because it's been on my list for so long, and I do think I've seen movies that I like more than it, and that movie is Donnie Darko. I loved the way Donnie Darko made me feel. I loved the music. I loved how creepy it was. I loved how abstract it was. Donnie Darko is a weird movie, and it's kind of like, I know I've seen the director's cut where it makes a little bit more sense, but it very much is kind of up to like a viewer interpretation. The music is fantastic. Cellar Door is one of my favorite songs. I love that scene where it plays. But I had seen movies since that I enjoy more, and I saw one this year that truly struck me as top 10 favorite movie material. And so Donnie Darko is officially off the list, and I have to say, Talk to Me, I think, is in my top 10 favorite movies, because I love horror movies more than any other genre. Any opportunity I can find to like put one in my top 10, because that's hard. Not a lot of horror movies are good, but Talk to Me was one of those elevated horror movies. I would say probably the best horror movie I've seen in theaters since Midsommar. It was so good, and it was just so cool, and it was full circle. Everything made sense. I loved the music. I love the concept. It definitely kind of reminded me of maybe like an addiction. I mean, if that's what it was about, it was a really great like metaphor for it. If not, if it was strictly just about seances and having fun and doing things for trends, I don't know. I don't care about all that, but like, all I know is I loved that movie. It was addictive. It was cool. It was interesting. It was unique. I have not seen anything like it. Very creative. I think Talk to Me's in my most... I keep trying to say most played, because I just did my most played video. Top 10 favorite movies. So that's 10. La La Land, Call Me By Your Name, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Avatar, Black Swan, Hereditary, Midsummer, Moonlight, Talk to Me, and The Dark Knight. That's 10. I think that's my updated list. Again, no order, no particular order except for the first 3. I'm pretty happy with this list. I would definitely, now that I've been talking about it at such like a surface level, I really would like to like go in and have a conversation about every single one of these movies and why they mean so much to me. I think I'm going to work on that. I think that'll be fun. So I love talking about movies. Obviously, I'm having a great time. And of course, let me know what your favorite movies are. I would love to hear about them. I love talking about movies. I could talk about movies forever. Obviously, I'm going to go back and make another video about every single one of these 10 movies. So expect a 10-part series on my favorite movies, not including this surface level conversation. But I hope everyone is having a wonderful weekend and a lovely November. And I will talk to y'all soon.